Welcome back to car news, where we've got China having over 100 car brands, Elon speedrunning on how to tank a company, and people deciding to literally drive their cars into a soapy pit for fun. Well, yeah, it's one of those weeks, so let's get right into it, shall we? And apparently, with the big thing, China has over 100 car brands. And at this point, someone in the Chinese HQ, he's on some type of medication for sure. Because no one in their right mind wakes up and is thinking, you know what we need? Another EV startup named after a random English word. Analyst Felipe Munoz actually made an interesting chart showing us who's cheap, who's premium, and who is basically a deadbeat. Spoiler, well, pretty much most of them. BYD, Geely, Chery, and Chang control pretty much half of the market. Well, and the other 96, they're pretty much like extras in a zombie movie. Well, they're there, but they're pretty much dead. Well, funnily, even the CEO of Xpeng, hope I pronounced it right, said that only 5 companies will survive within the next 5 years, which is interesting. Like, imagine working in some kind of Poco Autos or whatever and hearing it and like, oh yeah, so thanks for the pep talk that I'm going to be losing my job. And meanwhile, BYD is building an empire of sub-brands. We've got Denzeng, Yang Wang, Fang Chibao. Well, at this point, they're not automakers. They're like Pokemon training. You collect them all. And then after that, you've got wannabe luxury brands like Hongqiu, Yang Wang. Names that sound like a dumpling restaurant or a video game villain. They're aiming straight at Mercedes, Audi, BMW. Mercedes, who the f says Mercedes? Bro, no. At this point, European executives are probably sweating bullets, and then there's Germans gripping their Bosch wrenches and whispering, this can't be happening. But realistically, it's the survival of the fittest, and may the odds be in your favor. Unless you're some kind of Singbong Motors, well, then you're screwed. Speaking of survival, Volkswagen just shipped their first batch of Chinese-made vehicles overseas. Where to, you might ask? The Middle East. So yeah, the words German engineering now come on stamped with made in Changzhou. Well, somewhere in Wolfsburg there is probably an engineer that is crying into his Bratwurst. And the first export was around 550 cars. 554 to be precise. Magotan and Guitar sedans, which by the way are just the Passat and Jetta, with maybe slightly cooler names, but that's personal preference. And who's buying them? The Middle East, because there's nothing more prestigious of driving a German car made in China through Middle Eastern roads. Next stop, Central Asia, going through Kazan in your Volkswagen Sagitar, blasting techno music. That would be truly global domination. On the car parts side of things, car parts sales went down around 3%. And while Bosch is still number 1, well, because Germans and torque wrenches go together like beer and sausages, but Chinese suppliers actually doubled their share of global top 100, because in 2020 there were only 7 Chinese companies on the list, and now there are 14. And their sales tripled, which means even if you buy a Ford, a Toyota, or some random Peugeot, half of the stuff inside is still probably made in China. Meanwhile, CATL, the world's biggest EV battery maker, almost lost 15% of its revenue. Why? Well, because the EV battery war was turned into a dollar store clearance aisle. Everyone's slashing prices so hard it's Black Friday at a Walmart. ZF also lost money while restructuring, while Canadian and Japanese brands like Denso and Magna actually grew. So yeah, Asia is dominating the car parts market, and Europe and America, well, they're kind of falling and falling faster than a Tesla's resale value. And oh yeah, we mentioned Teslas. Funnily, their sales in Europe dropped 42% in July alone. My guy, July, Elon, bro, do something. While, you know what? BYD sales, they grew 200%, bro. At this point, BYD, it should sign for buy, you are done. You're done for with this, bro. And you may wonder why. Well, a survey actually shows that 60% of the people stopped buying Tesla not because of the car necessarily, but because of what Elon is talking about and because he won't shut up. And imagine tanking your brand just because you wanted to argue with someone on Twitter at 3 a.m. That's truly peak. And for some, he's not just annoying online. It's the fact that he literally backed far-right parties in Germany and the UK, financed Trump's campaign, and even supported releasing some far-right agitator from prison. Who buys Teslas now? People from the far right, the left. Well, that's a market that now despises Elon and Teslas. Meanwhile, BYD is giving away their full safe driving software for free. Their charging is on point, on par, if not better than Tesla's, while Tesla is charging 15 grand for full self-driving, which is absurd in the grand scheme of things. And in Europe, Tesla is becoming one of the worst selling brands. The only ones under it are Honda and Mitsubishi, bro. Imagine being on par with Mitsubishi, bro. Yeah, and here just some Lancer owner or Evo owner got offended, but... And on the infrastructure side of things, China just opened the world's highest bridge, sitting at a whopping 625 meters in the air. That's like if you stack 2 of the Eiffel Towers and then ride your Camry across. The bridge actually cut travel times from 2 hours to a whopping 2 minutes, which is great, unless you're a gas station owner, because then you kind of the road and it's useless. You won't be driving the road. And a fun fact, almost half of the tallest bridges are in the same Chinese province, Guizhou. Apparently, their entire hobby is, can I make a bridge that is tall and that scares tourists into peeing themselves? Which is mission accomplished. Fun fact, there was a tourist that actually... Okay, but that's besides the point. Let's not talk about that tourist. Meanwhile, in America, subtlety is dead because Hennessy dropped their new car, Venom F5 Evo. Because apparently horsepower under 1,000 is for the peasants, they've decided to do it at a whopping 2,031 horsepower. Top speed is around 500 kilometers per hour, which it's not a fucking car, it's a ICBM with cup holders, like holy my. Although only 32 exist, and yes, every single one of them is in some millionaire's garage and probably won't be driven practically ever. Next to his yacht and few Ferraris, because why not? The interior has physical switches and manual H-type gearbox, and I mean, they've done it, bro. It's cool. It's as if you're driving a spaceship, but it controls like a car from the 90s, the 2000s, because it's peak, bro. And of course, every existing Venom F5 can be converted to an Evo. And there's not like rich dudes would pass up on it, because nothing screams I'm compensating like 2,000 bloody horsepower. And finally, the piece de resistance. China invented a game where people drive their cars into a pit full of water and detergent and try to drift their way out. Yep, so pit car drifting. If you get out, you win money. If not, they get your car. So basically, pretty much you're betting your Corolla on whether you're Tokyo Drift material or not. And spoiler alert, you probably aren't. And of course it blew up over social media because nothing screams content like wrecking your daily driver for clout. And of course there's gonna be some Gary typing like, of course I'm gonna be able to get out of that pit in my Subaru. Bro, Gary, you can't even parallel park for the sake of it. So yeah, we've got China flooding the car market with brands no one's able to pronounce. Germans exporting cars that aren't really made in Germany. China building bridges that are scarier than some roller coasters. America with their new 2,000 horsepower beast. And people wrecking their cars in bubble baths. What a week. And now don't forget to like and subscribe and tell me down in the comments, would you drive your car into the detergent pit, or are you too attached to your Corolla? This was the news today. Hope you liked it, and see you soon. Bro, holy crap, I can't even take off my mic. What the heck? Bro, where did my mic? How did my mic? Anyhow.